Episode 14.
Roll it.
Episode 14
Been a
is on.
minute since we've been sitting here.
Been a minute. It has been a minute. As
Welcome.
always, we're at Colca Studios. Download the Firewire app. Available on iOS and Android. Go to the volleyhousepodcast.com to ask us questions or send in stories or videos you'd like us to review. Also, give us a follow on all social media platforms at Volly House Podcast. Disclaimer. This podcast is intended for a mature audience and contains humor and satire. The views are expressed are those of the hosts and the guests alone and do not reflect any agency, employer, or organization. While some of the information is educational and factual, other information may be deemed as opinion. Listener discretion advised.
That disclaimer is on the screen and in the bio. Make that the last time we say it, because we don't need to be saying that shit.
I'm going to say it every time now. Just to piss
We
Phil
need
off.
to say it with you here. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Anything to piss Phil off.
Well, that's easy, man.
yeah,
All you got to
very
do is
easy.
throw something in the chat. And
Well, you got to talk about. Oh, I didn't turn the piss clock.
Uh-oh, not the piss clock.
Who's Phil?
There we go.
All right, guys, give me a recap of FDIC. Looks like I missed
Well,
out
I
on some
barely
stuff.
saw Phil, so he was wherever he was.
What day did you get there?
Wednesday to Sunday.
Yeah, we were out and about because we had training Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday we slept till 12 because we were just exhausted.
Then it was drinking.
No, actually, not really. Not too much.
It was all good.
Yeah, Wednesday we slept because we were up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We went from our hotel, which was a little bit outside of Indianapolis, drove 20 minutes up into Indianapolis, went to the convention center, hurried up and waited, then got on the buses, and the buses bus you out. We went to the Boone County Sheriff's, maybe it was.
How far was that one?
That was like 40 minutes. And we didn't know how far it was, so we're sitting on the bus. We're like, how long are we about to be on this bus? Because
I heard some people were traveling over 2 hours.
Writ Under Fire was actually in Illinois. So
Wow.
they drove from,
Oh, yeah, that's the one you told me about.
yeah, they drove from Indianapolis to Illinois. And I heard, I don't know if this is true, someone said it was a Chicago Fire Department training facility. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, that was a long ride. And the other one we did, so one of the hands-on classes was about 40 minutes, and then the extrication classes were close. I think they were like maybe 15 minutes away.
Did you do 8-hour sessions or 4-hour blocks?
Live fire 8-hour on Monday with the Georgia Smoke Divers. Those were really good classes. And then we did a 4-hour Tuesday morning with Insight fire training, which was
Insight's pretty
fucking
good.
awesome.
I've seen a lot of their stuff.
Those
their
dudes were
clips and
sick.
stuff.
Shout out Joe Baca. Dude was
Baca.
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
All the dudes from Insight were awesome guys. That was thermal imaging. That was all different like search tactics and thermal imaging tactics, which using a tick seems like a simple concept, but they went so in depth, and I was like,
There's so much to know.
I was like, oh, tick class, this is going to be, standard. But like thermal imaging cameras, they're on all the trucks. How much training do people have with thermal
Most
imaging
people
cameras?
do not know how to use thermal imaging.
Yeah.
And then they get the
properly.
tunnel vision.
It's really a tool that you use when you need it.
Yep.
It's not something you use all the time. And if you don't understand thermal inversion or thermal layers and stuff like that, you're going to be clueless. And most people will take you in a firehouse, right? They just show you the stove or something. Oh, here, look, it shows you heat.
Yeah.
You really should take an in-depth class on thermal
Did they
imaging.
show
I'm
you how
sure
to-
you picked up a lot of that.
It was great.
Did they show you how to go room by room with search? Like you have one guy stays at the door, go ahead, do your search. You're chilling there with the camera, kind of monitoring what's going on.
Yeah, you kinda
And then you go
like-
from room to room.
I mean, like you said, you use it as a tool. You don't. It's not a. I mean, it's a search tool, but you don't use it throughout your search. You
Right,
use
that's
it
what I'm
as
saying.
a tool during your search. Like the
Right.
same way, I think someone made the comparison. Like, do you use a Halligan the whole time?
Right. You use a Halligan when you need it. You don't
Yeah.
use a Halligan the entire time. And it's the same thing with the thermal imager is that, you use it when you need it to take a look, and then you should search with your hands and your tools the way you normally do. Because if the camera breaks, the battery dies or something like that, you're going to be used to looking in this camera. So you got to be able to touch things and feel
Yeah,
things.
it was great. Simple concepts that were just so good.
Yeah. They have a lot of great videos. They really do.
You know what? Yeah, and I forget one of the guys' names. He said if you go on their website, email them, follow them, whatever, they have like slides with I think he said like 40 gigabytes of PowerPoints and training. He's like, we'll give it all. Like if you guys want it, we'll give it all to you.
It's awesome.
But yeah, simple concepts that just supercharge. They said, become a good searcher then supercharge the search with the thermal imaging camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I could talk about that.
That's a great way to put it.
But so
great.
that was Tuesday morning, 4-hour session, and then Tuesday afternoon, which anyone who goes to FDIC, I recommend you do 8 hours, because once you break up 4 and 4, once you get back to the convention center, you just want to go
you
sleep.
lose. Right.
You're shot. So do 8-hour sessions. So then we did EV extrication, advanced EV extrication, which was pretty cool. They didn't have EVs to cut up, so it was kind of simulated, but a lot of good extrication type tactics.
Did they put like the markings?
Yeah, they spray painted like the ports on the side and stuff. But it was a lot about like, there was one that was good. I know it was an extrication class, but they used the turtle, which is something that we've been talking about. I don't know the full name of the thing. But using that thing, especially
Goes under the car.
for EVs,
Right, shoots
because
water.
obviously with an EV fire, those batteries on fire and they're underneath the car.
Yeah.
But it's all sorts of good tactics for EV extrication and just EV operations, I guess I could say, as a whole. But it was good. It was good stuff. And then there were some seminars we bounced around. We just kind of went in and out of a couple of them. And they do everything at FDIC. I didn't realize they do things from like firefighting to like recruiting and retention classes for like marketing and recruiting and stuff like that. They have everything.
There's a wide variety.
That main hallway we would walk down.
Sure.
There was classes, and I was like, "What?" I'm like, "They teach like everything."
You should look
here.
at the schedule before you go and kind of get.
Well, we had the app. We saw everything on the app. Yeah.
They talk about mental health. They talk about family. They talk about
Did you go to Lucas Oil too? Did you go in there?
Yeah, I walked through. Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Looking down from the top, it was like, and you know what's funny? Like, it doesn't seem like a football field size.
It seems. I
small.
was saying that to my wife. I said, when you go to like MetLife and see what a stadium's like, and then you
Massive.
go in that, it seems so much smaller.
Yeah. Maybe the sidelines are smaller, or maybe it was the fire trucks in the way.
I don't know.
But yeah,
But it's
good.
cool. And then they had stuff outside too, in between the convention center and Lucas Oil. They had stuff out in the parking lot set up. They had the firefighter challenge, and they had some Nozzle stuff. They had some, they had all sorts of things going on. It's pretty neat.
But that was my first time there. How many times have you been there?
I don't know. I was figuring this out. I probably haven't been there in 18 years at least.
Oh wow.
Oh, so it's been going on for a while.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I always knew about
Yeah,
it
the
since
first
I've been
time
in
I
the
went,
fire
I think I
department.
was a lieutenant, then a captain, then I went back as a chief. But it's been a long time.
I was talking to an ex-chief at my firehouse. He said he used to be in Cincinnati before Indianapolis. It got too big to be in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So, but it was. Have you?
They
ever
said
been?
it was like
No, I
36,
haven't.
37,000 people. That's not just students. They count, I believe they count the students, the instructors, the support staff, all the vendors. Like they count people.
There was a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, but
regardless,
it
there
was
tons.
literally mobbed. I mean, it was packed.
That's good though. Got a
It was
lot of
good.
people out there training.
Good time. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Kev, you were over with.
I was at the affordable bailout prop made by Affordable Drill Towers. So they asked me to come out and just practice doing some bailouts and talk to people about the tower. So we're at the Fire Innovations booth. So Steve with Affordable Drill Towers has a few different props, but he has a standpipe prop. So that was in a couple different booths. They were also using it outside, and then we had the bailout prop inside. So we were using the Fire Innovations bailout system. It was good, excellent.
Cool bailout system. I don't know if you've ever seen that thing. Simplest bailout system I've ever seen.
Very, very simple. It's basically a munter, and you just basically pull back
Yeah.
on it. Very simple to use.
No like bells and whistles
Nothing.
to freaking mangle around. It's literally just.
Very
Interesting.
simple
Never
to
heard of it.
use. Very light. It's super light. So
What was that, like a 3/8 rope on that thing?
I don't know what
A
the
little
size is.
a little
It's
smaller.
usually millimeters, probably 6.5 or 7 millimeters, something like that. I didn't even ask, but that's what most of the bailout systems are. And we got to use the system, play around with it, use the tower, talk to a lot of different people. He has his own harness too, so we used his harness, a lot lighter as well. I mean, it doesn't have a big hook on it or anything.
So you were there as an instructor, kind of like you were you running classes, or you were just kind of going
working
through the
it. I was being paid to be there, so it was pretty nice.
That
First time I'm paid to be there.
That was
but-
like a demo, right? It wasn't like a training thing, right?
Yeah, no, it was just demo.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
people
okay,
were
okay.
asking questions about bailout systems, and, I talked to some people about the Joey D Foundation, and, we talked about the drill tower and, try to get some leads and contacts, and, You know, but the what's nice about that bailout prop, it's all made out of scaffolding, just like his drill towers, and it can be taken apart. You can basically put it in the back of a pickup truck. So, you know, we had it all set up, and then it's on huge caster wheels, so it's right around 12 feet, I think, so it fits in and out of a garage door of your firehouse. So, you know, if you wanted to drill inside because it's a rainy day, put it inside. You want to take it outside on a nice day, you take it outside.
If it's raining out, you're still drilling outside.
Yeah, I don't mind, you know, but you know, if weather's really crappy or whatever. But yeah, it was good, and got to talk to a lot of people, you know, made some good contacts with people as well. And
That's awesome.
yeah, it was a great time.
I'm glad you guys
A lot
had
going on. I tell you, standing on your feet for 9 hours and walking around and stuff,
yeah.
man. And then I'm all bruised up, you know.
I think I
from
ruined.
doing the
I wore
bailout.
these
When
shoes.
you do bailouts over and over again, you know, you 7, 8, 9 times in a row, you know.
Yeah.
You hit like your forearms and stuff
Right
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
put
my
up
leg.
Oh,
that,
you're all bruised up.
Yeah, my arm, my leg.
put that grainy ass video of you up on the Instagram.
It was better when I sent it by email.
Yeah, I'd
I don't
already
know why
po-
it came out so
One that you
grainy.
posted came out good.
Yeah,
But that one, it must have been compressed.
Yeah, I don't know.
probably because I texted it to him, and
Yeah, but it's weird because like we're not on different
no, I don't
devices.
know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good time. I would recommend, you know, everybody to go out there and see what's done in other areas. And, you know, it's not just, you know, FDIC takes in people from all over the country and even other countries. I mean, we had people from Chile, Mexico, you know, Germany, you know, it's international. So
Guys in the classes were from Spain. I think one dude was from France. Instructors from Australia, Germany, somewhere else in Europe. Yeah, all over the world.
Interesting.
yeah, it's real wild.
That's awesome.
One of the Insight guys was from Australia, and then we saw him out at a restaurant
Hi,
later.
good day, mate.
Was he getting shrimp on the barbie?
It was so funny.
Let me try this out
Listening
back.
to him talk, listening to him talk was hilarious. Like he's talking about, he was the thermal imaging one of the thermal imaging classes. There was 3 stations, and
All right, get out your tick.
It was so funny. You want to break the plane?
Yeah, we were talking to a guy from Boston, you know, Boston.
Oh yeah.
But it was good stuff. And then, you know, like at night, too, there's a lot of things that go on. Like the Indianapolis Fire Department Union put on like a street party, which was pretty good, you know, hamburgers, hot dogs and stuff. But it's attached to their museum. So when in the museum, you know, we're looking around, they got a old ladder truck in there. And we were looking at it, and there's a sign there. And it was very interesting. It all comes back to New York. A private collector owned it and gave it to a Sayville Fire Department on Long Island,
shit.
had it for a while. But when he gave it to them, it was under the express condition that when Sayville gave it up, it had to go back to Indianapolis 27 truck, I think ladder 27. But it said right on the sign, Sayville, New York. I'm like, oh my God, Long Island. It always comes back to Long Island.
Yeah, right.
And then, you know, we went to, actually, I'm wearing their hat, Siddons Martin. Siddons Martin put on their Pierce dealer down in, you know, Texas, but I think they cover 7 or 9 states, like huge dealer. They put on like a dinner for their people and clients and stuff like that. So we went to that one night, and they love swag, man. They give this stuff out like crazy.
Nice hat.
Their hats on every table and koozies and everything else. And we're going to get some Volly House ones to hand out to people.
Yeah, we do got to get.
Gave out a lot of stickers. All my stickers are gone.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of these manufacturers put on stuff for their clients and stuff like that. And, you know, Siddons Martin, they've done a lot for the Joey D Foundation, so I do want to give them a shout out. You know, they support the Texas Seminar every year, and Patson's. They just do a fabulous job. So
Awesome.
my hat's off to them.
One thing I will
My
say.
hat's off to them.
One thing I will say about going there, as a volunteer, there's a lot of volunteers and a lot of career guys from all over the country. And for anyone who hasn't gone to FDIC and done hands-on training, and I want to say this to all the volleys on Long Island or in like the New York metro area, the level of access to resources and training that we have in New York, like, do not take it for granted, because we are like top tier. There was guys out there probably from more rural areas, and they were saying like, so on Long Island, what do we train? Once a week, maybe twice a week, with all the props that our districts buy us, with all the town and county facilities that we can go to almost whenever we want. We can get cars whenever we want. We can do all of this stuff. We have, like I'm saying, so much access. there's guys from departments out there that are lucky to train once a month.
If they're lucky.
Yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
do things that like when we were doing extrication, like the classes were great and some of the methodologies that they had were great, but I was like, I can take this home and I can actually set this up at home where there's other departments.
Yeah,
Who,
where you could build props. I think there was
Yeah.
a class on building props, actually.
Yeah, there probably was. But we can, being from Long Island and probably like this whole general area, we have, I guess it comes down to money and the resources and instructors and trainers that we can do this stuff.
And proximity to New York City, which is a big help.
Which is massive. And being able to take those drills, like my district in particular, we have a Bobcat, we have a Jersey barrier, and we can get cars whenever we want. I can simulate everything we did there. So
Right.
being
Absolutely.
a volley on Long Island, you don't realize how good you have it. Like we really have a lot.
Well, we even saw that with the Joey D seminar. We had some people come down from Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and it's really taken off up in that area. They're coming down.
Yeah.
And they said they don't have a county facility or a department facility that they can use for training. They're like, you guys get to come out here? I'm like, yeah, we come out like 5 times a year at my department. And they're like, really?
It's almost required.
Right.
Almost like a requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't. So, they've been coming down every year for the Joey D seminar in November, and they love it. They're like, this is great.
Yeah, that's good.
We had one department, I think they shut down their department operation to come to Joey D for the whole weekend. They send the whole
Yeah.
department.
Wow.
Who was that? I've heard that.
I forget, department, a small department up in
Yeah.
Rhode Island or something.
Put out a note to all the residents. Hey.
I'll give.
They had the mutual aid cover them.
Yeah,
I had never been to Joey D to do hands-on. We brought you guys a ladder truck out there one time, but kudos to Joey D Foundation because people compare that training at FDIC to Joey D out here.
We're trying,
So that's
Hell yeah,
solid
Kev.
stuff.
Well, I try, I try. It's interesting. Chief McDermott told me years ago when first started doing the hands-on at Suffolk, and he said to me, he goes, Kevin, just remember one thing. And I said, what's that? And he said, FDIC started in somebody's garage,
Yeah.
and it slowly grew bigger and bigger to what it is today. And he goes, that's what the Joey D could be.
How many years are you doing that now?
I said, I don't know if I want it that big, though. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, you say that.
Well, the foundation's been in existence since early 2013. And I think our first seminar was in 2013 or 14. So
Okay, so about
we've been
10
going
years.
a while.
a little more than 10 years. Yeah.
But we've given out over $1.2 million. So
That's awesome.
we're doing well, and we got to keep pushing along. And not even that. It's not even about just giving the grants out. It's also giving low-cost training
Right.
that people can afford because a lot of firefighters, they're going out of their own pocket. We're very fortunate, like you said. Long Island, our districts will, front some money or, send us to these training programs around the country. But there are a lot of even paid firefighters or volunteers that dip into their own pocket to go to these training programs. So
Yeah, I heard that some paid departments, like there was guys from wherever, and they were like they'll pay for like their department will pay for something, but not everything.
Right.
So
Exactly. And that's, FDIC is expensive. It's not cheap to go there.
no.
If you got a full week pass, I don't know what the total cost would be, but I bet it's probably close to $1,000.
Yeah, that's more. I think it's more.
Or it might be more.
But
I don't even know anymore.
Even
but-
getting on a plane ticket,
Right,
Check
plane,
your gear and check your bag because you're there for a week.
Yep.
That's easily what's a plane ticket? 400 each way.
Then the hotel.
Yeah, I was
400
gonna say the
round trip,
hotel.
I mean.
Hotel, then the food and everything. You're probably individual students probably paying almost $5,000. I bet.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, Joey D, right now it's $300 for 3 days, which is pretty good.
All right.
Not for long.
Not for long.
What do you got?
Oh, hold on. I brought him today. I brought my front line
Suspended
up.
or not.
I got no sunglasses.
Um,
Put on headphones.
Does it look good with the? Does it look good with the hat, or should I ditch that? Does it look better that way? I need a haircut.
a haircut.
Me too.
Yeah, my hair's very long.
Your hair's long.
Mine?
Look at our hair. Look
Yeah.
at yours.
I like short hair. I was at FDIC. I couldn't get a cut.
Well, if you like these glasses, go to frontlineoptics.com and use code VHP15 for 15% off. The sun's been out. Maybe this week. I think it's supposed to be a little shitty out.
It was beautiful today.
Yeah.
Oh,
what
today,
did-
no.
nice
Today was
What are you,
beautiful, but I
68
think
today?
the
It
rest.
was warm.
I think the rest of the week through like Thursday, it's supposed to be crappy. But sunny days are coming, man. So get
love
yourself a pair of Frontline Optics. Use code VHP 15 for 15% off frontlineoptics.com.
For
All
sure.
right, so we got a couple of suspended or not submissions here. Now, Kevin and I had went through 2 of these when we did the show at Firehouse Restaurant, but
I wish we'd put that out as a full episode.
it just there was a lot of
I know. Next time,
issues.
you know what? We'll go back
I
to the
thought
fire.
that's what you guys wanted to do.
we
thought
wanted
that
to
was
do
the
that,
plan.
and then there was some like glitchy,
I was expecting you to send it to me. Yeah.
huh?
I was expecting you to send the video, and I would have.
Oh, I didn't know you had your computer in there with you.
Well, I could have done it.
Phil
at
was
some point.
away. But we can do it again at the restaurant, the Firehouse Restaurant. It's
Yeah, we'll have a
excellent.
better- a
Yeah,
better
we'll do it
setup,
again.
too.
We'll bring the cameras and actually set it up. But great place to visit.
Yeah, we have everything we need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we could put it out anyway.
This one night we get a mutual aid call to a rural midnight structure fire. 20 by 30 detached garage was fully involved, and it started to catch the house. We pull up a second due truck company, parked about 300 feet down the road from the scene. We get assigned to vent the roof, throw a ladder, and 2 members go up. I foot the ladder on the pavement. One of the vent crew is our first assistant chief. The saw that was being used wasn't cutting, so the chief yells down to get a new saw. I'm the only person around. I look around, see our truck operator / driver standing by watching, and yell to him to grab the other chainsaw, not wanting to leave the ladder unfooted on pavement. Important note, the driver / operator was the chief of department at the time. I turn back a few minutes later, see the chief had gotten the chainsaw. I run over, grab it, start it, send it back up to the roof crew to continue the vent. A week later, I get pulled into the chief's office and reprimanded for telling the chief to get the saw and threatened with suspension if anything like that happens again. Did I make the wrong call? Kevin and I spoke about this one.
What do you
And-
think, Phil? What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
So
let's
the
hear your
chief,
thing.
what was the chief's job on scene?
The chief drove the rig and was operating.
So that chief's a chauffeur.
He's a chauffeur.
Yes,
He's not the
100%.
chief of department on that
Correct.
scene. So someone asked for something, why not? Like, there's no reason he shouldn't have went and got it, and there's no reason that he should be suspended or ridiculed or
I
anything.
think there was maybe an issue with tonality, maybe how it was conveyed. Either way, I agree 100%. That
The
chief,
words that were
And
used,
then
words
there's
hurt.
a house on fire while this is going on.
Yeah, well,
They were on the roof.
they did what they
cutting
had
a
to
hole.
do at the scene, but this person, when they a week later get pulled into the chief's office and say, "You don't tell the chief what to do," sounds like an ego thing,
Yeah.
bruised ego.
And it's basically what I said when we were at the restaurant. You know, once you're the chauffeur, you're the chauffeur.
100%.
So, and the chauffeur's job it really is a free safety to get equipment, do what needs to be done to make sure that the fireground operation happens.
And if you're the chief of department, like that's something you should know. Like, there's no reason that you should be. Like,
I mean, there could, you know, we're finding out with a lot of these stories that there's always another side to it. It seems.
maybe we got to hear the chief's perspective.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, once you're sitting in that chauffeur seat or operating that rig,
That's
you
your
know,
job.
Your job is, you know, to make sure you know where all the equipment is and you can get it for the members when they need it. So, yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
I don't think
like you
there's
said,
any.
It could
I
have been
don't.
the tone. There could have been more to the story. Who
Did
knows?
the guy get suspended or anything?
No, it just seems like a
They spoke to
slap
him.
on the wrist, but I don't think that's anything that should have even warranted a warning or anything
No,
like that.
I don't think so.
That should have been if anything, just a brief conversation of. I mean, no, I'm talking.
Well,
about my ass.
no, I think if the tonality was, you know, if they just said it in a weird tone, you know, that maybe it was like, is this guy like yelling at me?
Hey,
like,
fucko, get me the
yeah,
saw.
yeah, you know, something along those
I don't
lines. I
know.
doubt it was like that.
I
but
doubt it. You know, like I said, you know, it's hard when you don't know what the other side of the story
Right.
is. And
this next one is a doozy.
a doozy?
Oh yeah,
Is this one we went over?
no.
Oh, this is a new one. Okay, let's go with it.
3 members, a lieutenant and 2 probies.
He's laughing already. I love it.
3 members, a lieutenant and 2 probies, went out drinking. They returned to the firehouse via Uber late at night. One probie was extremely intoxicated, had vomited on himself, and was laid on the firehouse couch by the other 2, who were also drunk. The lieutenant, unable to drive, slept in his car. The second probie chose to sleep on the rear bumper of the engine. The next morning, a member arrived with his child and found a set of keys and human crap near the door.
God.
He saw the probie on the bumper and told him it was unsafe. The probie claimed the keys belonged to the lieutenant. The member asked that the feces be cleaned up. Before cleanup, more members arrived. followed by an assistant chief who had the probie clean the mess. The probie said he didn't remember what happened. The probie's underwear, not soiled, were later found in the bathroom. All three were called into a meeting with the chiefs the next day. With no working cameras due to construction, all claimed they were too intoxicated to recall the events. Because nobody wanted to fess up and there was no proof, the chief suspended all three for 30 days instead of throwing out the probies. They're all active members.
They're lucky to be there
Wow.
because you can throw them out for whatever reason you want.
Oh, 100%.
That was like a wacky story. I couldn't follow it.
That's not from New York. Please.
I put it in, it was a lot longer, but I just...
You cut it down?
Yeah, cut it
Was
down.
this a message we got?
I got a message.
All right.
It was sent directly to me.
Underwear, feces,
Yeah,
suspension. How long?
30-day suspension for all of them instead of... Because they had no concrete proof because there was no cameras there.
But somebody, one of those
They
three
were-
did it, or all
Yeah,
of
they
them?
were brought into the chief's office. They were asked for somebody to fess up, to...
Nobody did.
No.
And nobody did. They said they don't remember what happened, and they were all active guys. So instead of the chief saying, "All right, these probies are done," they just gave everyone a 30-day suspension.
Chief waited out, I'm sure. He waited it out.
Oh yeah, probably.
I don't think it's that bad of a situation. Well,
I was sent a picture too.
I don't
But
want to
I'm
say
not-
it's not bad. I think it probably was deeming of a suspension. I don't know about 30 days, but if that's what they chose to do, but
Probably like the standard.
but nobody giving up the other guy and everything else, and
They showed their
guess what?
loyalty.
They're all going.
The chief was like, at least they're loyal to each other.
Yeah.
I want these guys in the department.
Yeah,
It's like it's like when you arrest somebody, like a cop. There's a gun in a car, nobody owns up to it. They all go. They're all arrested.
right.
Same idea. Nobody's giving up each other. Obviously, somebody did it. That's part of this group. You're all going.
All right.
Well, yeah, the probies could have been, they could have just been kicked out.
They could have been kicked out.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it could have went a lot differently. So
Cool chief. Maybe he thought it was funny.
I'm sure they probably.
I'm
thought
sure there was
funny.
chuckling somewhere along the line, but
I feel like most of these stories, like even if it does become a suspension, there is some sort of laughter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember even some of like the stuff that happened.
even bad stuff, down the line, it becomes funny at some point.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
look back and you say, "Oh my God, really?"
The next one, this was sent to Kevin.
Oh, this.
An East End, Long Island Fire Department was standing by for another department's volley prom. The host department decided to cook steak and potatoes for the standby department's members. Unfortunately, the potatoes were overcooked and could not be eaten. One of the members of the standby department turned out to be a potato farmer and was not happy with his potato. So he had a truckload of potatoes delivered to the firehouse, and they filled the entire cab of one of the host department's apparatus with potatoes to the ceiling well past the windows.
That's awesome.
How long ago was this?
I don't know.
Like, who's a fucking potato
Who's
farmer?
a potato farmer on Long
Yeah.
Island?
I mean, I know-
Out east on Long Island, there's a lot of potato.
I know
farms.
Long Island was like mainly
It used to
potato
be a
farms back
huge
in the
potato
day.
farm before all the wineries.
Yeah, I was going to say all wine now.
But there's still potato farms out east. I thought it was funny. I'm like, that's hysterical.
I think it's funny.
And when I spoke to him about it, he said the potatoes, the best part of it was they were past the height of the window, so they must have like stuffed them in there.
Oh, no. How do you even close the window as you stuff it?
I don't know how they
Sunroof?
did it, but they got them all the way up, or they must have stacked it and then I guess shook the rig so they'd fall down to the window level.
Imagine they get like a job
Open the
in
door, they
middle
all
of the night.
fall
Yeah.
out. I'm like, that's
Potatoes
pretty funny.
everywhere.
That's cool.
But I mean, guess guy's farm is doing well if he took that many potatoes and jammed them into a fire truck.
Well, it's like when they went to the sod farm, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Freaking hand picking potatoes out of your car probably took like 3 hours.
No, I think it was the fire truck they filled
It's
up.
funny.
truck,
I run
sorry,
into
that's what I
people and
meant.
they're like, "I got a story for you for suspended," and I'm like, "Send it." We'll
Hell
take it.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, how the hell did they do that? How did they fill it up above the window?
I don't know. Maybe they opened a hatch
You
on
got
the
a
roof,
picture?
filled it
No
in.
Pictures?
No, I don't know. He didn't tell me if there were pictures. I could find out.
We need more stories from back in the day for suspended or not, because I feel like the stories from back in the day are always a lot crazier and funnier because you can't do them today.
Yeah.
You mean like the day I woke up and my dad was all screaming and yelling because they went around the whole fire district and took everybody's for sale signs out and put them in my front lawn?
That's funny.
And then in beer cans wrote a message in empty beer cans.
Yeah,
That was pretty funny.
that won't
The
happen
thing is,
today.
even like the potato one, the car in the multiple cars in the firehouses. Like now, there's just cameras everywhere, so you can't even do
Right.
something within minutes.
Somebody knows what's going on.
They're gonna be someone's gonna call or someone's gonna, even if it's in the middle of the night and someone
Even with the
sees
cell
something.
phones, everybody's so quick to
Yeah, I mean,
call
that's
and
instant communication.
Someone sends like a Snapchat and it's just over with.
Yeah.
Snapchat. What's that? Snapchat.
You just send pictures. You know what Snapchat is. How much you want to bet?
I
Kevin has a
I never had Snapchat. My girls had Snapchat though, but I never had it. It's like the 20, right? It's up for like 20 seconds or something.
Well, now it's till you click it away. It used to be
I
like
don't know.
that.
My
Yeah,
daughter
you
used to
can,
say
like,
it goes up and then it's gone or whatever.
I think now you click it away.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're
I don't know
all
anything
the
about it.
social media things are starting to follow each other nowadays. Let's get into iCommand board.
I come in.
Shout out Greg. I saw him in the bathroom in LaGuardia.
Greg?
Greg from my command board.
Oh, you saw him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I run into him. I was telling Tyler, I'm taking a piss. He's walking one way. He's walking towards me. I'm walking towards him. I'm going out. And we make eye contact. We look down, then we look back up, and we go, oh, hey, what's up?
Wait, I know you.
Yeah,
But that was like the airport, right? You know, wherever you went, you ran into somebody you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
No, Greg's a good dude.
Even my wife, she was in Virginia the weekend. She gets on the plane in Baltimore, and she's like, this plane's filled with firemen, too. So they must have went to Baltimore and then to New York.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Iceland.
yeah.
The freaking handlebar mustaches in the airports were out of control.
Oh, yeah.
There's fire department shirts everywhere.
Every video we see from a career department incident shows an incident command board on scene. Yet, in many NIOSH LODD reports, a recurring finding is the lack of proper incident command. As a chief in the volunteer fire service, your responsibility is to ensure the safety of everyone operating at every incident. Gone are the days of managing this in your head or on a simple whiteboard. The owner of iCommand Board, a volunteer fire chief, took this challenge head on by developing a professional tool tailored for volunteer fire officers. These command boards are designed with size, affordability, and most importantly, accountability at the forefront. Packed with critical information and checklists, they're built to help you stay organized and focused at every event. Visit iCommandBoard.com today and take the next step in ensuring the safety and success of your department. And if you let them know you saw this on the Volly House Podcast, you will get 10% off your order. iCommand Board.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Greg didn't have a booth at FDIC, but he was there. He was like walking around, looking around. I was talking to
Buffing
him.
out?
He was buffing out. And I saw the other command boards there, and I will say Greg's is the superior command board.
Yeah, honestly, he could walk around with that thing and just bring
He
it
could
up
wear
to,
it around his neck like a hot dog guy. At a
or like
baseball
no,
game.
like the hell is his name?
Well, for what
Flav
for what they
Flav?
charge,
That big ass
With the clock.
clock. Yeah, just
for
have
what
an
they
iCommand
charge
board.
for booths and stuff there is insane.
Oh yeah,
I can imagine.
Money.
yeah.
Yeah.
People could just, advertise with us.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper.
Advertise with the
Digital-
Volly
digital-
House podcast.
Yeah. Trackable.
Digital, trackable.
And like I said, I mean, there were a lot of people I talked to, and they follow us, so they've seen our clips before, which is really cool.
Yeah,
And,
it's awesome.
a couple other people that do podcasts I talked to.
You know what came out good? Some of our koozies came out wonky, but the shirts are nice. I do like the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweatshirt's nice.
Well, like I was saying, maybe this summer we make up a bunch of shirts, hats, koozies, and
Yeah, we
go to
gotta
some of the drill team events or parades and hand some out.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I think we should do something. But otherwise, you can go to our website at volleyhousepodcast.com,
Yeah.
and you can buy some swag.
Well done, Kev.
Yeah.
Is
I
there a
could throw more
VHP
stuff on
code
there,
in
too.
there?
Is it what?
Yeah, we need nice hats like this one.
Yeah, I could do trucker
Siddons
hats.
Martin's giving these things away.
But you know what? I'm thinking
friggin' trucker hats.
like you said, we should use a local guy to make the stuff for us.
Pat Deuce-a-do.
Mr. Chief Dees-do.
Yeah,
I saw Pat out there. He was at.
I don't know if
I
he
was
does
talking to
hats.
Pat, and he's going to hear this, and he's going to remember. We were talking in the middle of the road for hours.
In the middle of the
In the
road.
middle of the road, middle of the night. Hanging out in the middle of the street.
Love that. Pat's a great dude to talk
Losing
to.
sleep.
Losing sleep.
All standing there. We're all like, I really got to go to the bathroom. Everything's closed.
Yep.
We're just standing there.
It's so funny.
It is amazing. And people, you're spread out pretty far. I mean, I was past the airport where I stayed.
Yeah.
I was like 10 minutes past the airport.
You know what's crazy about Indianapolis, though? Being from New York, felt like I was saving money being out there. Everything, dinner, drinks, cheap as
Yeah,
hell.
it's not. Well, that's most of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York and Long Island. Well, New York City, Long Island is like anomaly.
I know.
It's an
It's
anomaly.
ridiculous.
Yeah. You buy the same food in
$2
like South
beers.
Carolina for like a third of the price. You know.
It's crazy.
I go grab 4 beers for the group of guys I'm with. Bartender goes, she puts the beers down. She's like, all right, $8.75.
What is
Yes.
this, the Masters?
And I'm
Yes.
like, how much? I'm holding like $60. I'm like, how much? She's like, oh, $8.75. They're $2 tonight.
You're like,
I'm
oh,
like-
I didn't get one beer. I got multiple beers.
Yeah,
You
I know,
sure?
yeah, right. So
Just
I'm like,
keep them coming.
I'm like, all right, here, take a 20.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
them coming.
She's like, oh, thank you.
That's like the Masters golf tournament this
Oh
weekend.
man, that was. I
was
didn't see
insane.
the end of it. Unfortunately, I was on
Oh,
the plane.
dude, it was insane.
Yeah.
But
I
the
was
prices
watching.
at the Masters, because it's such a
Oh, I
like
can
a
imagine.
historic. No. You go like to get there. You have to get like a lottery, like where you put your name in to get tickets to go. You can't buy tickets to go there. But when a couple of my friends went there last year, they hit that lottery thing, got the tickets, and went. But the price of everything there has been the same price for like 100 years, however
really?
long that thing's been
Really?
going on for. Yeah, like you can get
I
like
would love to go to the Masters.
they said like you can get like 2 beers and a hot dog for like $3.
Maybe it's like a traditional thing.
Yeah, it's like a traditional thing. They don't go. I mean, the
But
merch.
it's $1,000 to go.
Yeah, well, the merch apparently is like insanely expensive, but like the
sure.
food and beers and stuff, and there's also like insane rules. But
That's all of them. Whether you go to the PGA or
yeah, well, they're all
when they're in Bethpage or
yeah.
Shinnecock
You
or-
can't like run. Like when everyone goes from one hole to the other, you
No,
can't.
run.
If you
No, you
run,
gotta
you're
walk.
done.
Yeah, they'll
Really?
throw you out.
Yeah,
Unprofessional looking.
yeah.
It is pretty wild how
This is a sign. If you run, you're done.
If you run, you're done.
when you go to these things though, it's wild. Like I was standing in the crowd.
Dude, they need that.
at Bethpage, and the ball came into the crowd, and it's like everybody just parts ways.
Yep.
So like you're standing literally like next to the guy about to hit, and it's like if I was golfing with my friends, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near. You know, like
I don't even like my friends staring at me when I'm on the golf
but
course.
they're literally
let alone
like
100
they just
people.
surround the ball, and they don't give much space. It's like just a little alley.
Yeah. Can we make that a shirt?
But
If you run, you're done.
And you run, you're done.
Masters 2025.
yeah, right. Just use their logo.
If you run, you're done.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Right?
So who had job of the week? I felt like
There were a bunch while I
let's
was
see.
away. Selden had a job in an auto body shop.
Let's get Buff Nation a little. See what's going on with
Oh yeah,
That was the other day. Selden's in the morning.
it cooled off a little bit. Over
Yeah, but
here.
then there was a bunch. There were a couple right in a row, right?
yeah, right in a row.
Let's see. March 2025 recap from Buff Nation. We got 35 Suffolk County, 35 working fires.
Wow.
Oh no, that's February.
Good job, Phil.
March, 37 working fires.
Yeah, no, we're in April now.
Yeah, but
Well, I guess March recap. Yeah, because we
Yeah,
haven't
March
done a show in 2 weeks.
Nassau County in March, 18 working fires. Department leads in Suffolk, Kings Park,
Yeah, Kings Park.
Yeah,
had
they've
that
been
job
busy,
the other
busy
day, too.
shop.
Westbury in Nassau.
Yes, Westbury had like an attic fire or something.
Yeah, and for any of the people that are watching outside of New York area, send us your jobs that you had or some stats.
JOBs.
We'll
We
give
wanna
you
see
we'll give you a
JOBs.
shout out. And
Seeing 2 days ago, Selden had Denny's Auto Body on
Yeah, the
Middle
auto
Country
body.
Road, 8
We
o'clock.
sent
in
the
the
ladder and an engine over, I think. I was in FDIC.
speaking of which, drill of the week.
morning.
Drill of the week.
Yeah,
drill.
FDIC.
We already got it
Drills?
covered.
Yeah, I
that
was just gonna say like
FDIC,
you guys already.
I got a drill to take home though that I'm gonna do. I don't think this is tonight. That's Easter this weekend, so we're not gonna drill this weekend. But
Yeah, it's a
patient
tough month.
patient rescue. How to use this was an awesome class out there. How to use a victim's body mechanics to pick them up, get them on a sill.
For like leverage, was
Yeah.
it the Denver drill?
Is that the Denver drill?
Denver's when you're in a tight space and a high sill. Gotta
But you are
go around.
using the leverage of like
You can.
limbs
There's a
and
couple
stuff like
different
that.
ways to do it, but
Yeah, they
you
kept
can flip the
they-
body. You can
I thought the Denver drill was below grade.
no.
No, I don't know.
Well, it's to get somebody up on the floor up into
Up out of
over
sill,
yeah
out a window
yeah.
on a ladder. So yeah, maybe it was that. But that was an excellent drill that I'm going to take back because at our facility at the firehouse, we have our bailout window, and I could perfectly set it up. So that'll be good. But it's crazy, using a victim, like dead weight, using your body mechanics and the way you roll people and the way you like use their body to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Like button their feet up against a wall, pushing their torso forward, and then pushing. You know, it's crazy. You push on their knees. You ever see that type of drill?
Yeah, lock it in.
You push on their knees, but it lifts their whole body up, and then you can push them out the sill. You obviously need someone on the other side.
Same thing with the legs. Like you cross the legs certain ways.
Yeah.
Or the arms certain ways.
It's kind of a similar concept to like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Using people's body like weight and leverage to.
Yeah. We had some like dragging ways to drag, crossing legs on the floor and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So next episode we'll have.
Yeah.
We're going to
We'd
go
love to hear how
over
it
brush
goes.
fires this month.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
tis
yeah.
the season. Well,
Winch operations for the brush truck and stuff like that. So.
this was the other submission from last week about I will just shorten it down to the submission came from somebody who's a firefighter at a laboratory. They use only fog nozzles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And basically the question here is, are there any other advantages to fog nozzles aside from hydraulic ventilation? Because in his mind, he's like, well, why aren't we using smoothbore, straightbore nozzles when we're in an airtight facility? You know, what is the advantage of a fog nozzle?
What do you mean fog nozzle for ventilation? When they like shoot it outwards?
Yeah, like hydraulic ventilation.
Hydraulic ventilation.
Yeah.
So you use the nozzle to entrain air out the window.
Right.
Because you have more
So you push the
surface
smoke out.
area with the fog nozzles than you do with the smooth bores. So that's like the one main advantage. But overall, his whole thing was, I feel like we can do a lot more with the smooth bore nozzles compared to
Solid.
yeah. And Kev,
What do you use?
It's all
Solid bore?
Solid bore, yeah. I mean, there's TFTs on the trucks, but
Right. Yeah, we're the same way.
Yeah, we typically use the solid bore nozzles. They're on the.
Were you just testing me on my engine knowledge, asking me that?
Wow. Truck guy, you're asking him about engine stuff. You know, you got to see if he knows.
Yeah,
That's about
usually
all I can answer.
commonly see them for trash fires, car fires,
Electrical fires.
electrical fires. You know, if you've a propane tank that's blowing out,
Yep.
you know, use that for, you know, to get up close and shut it off. But other than that, on the 1 3/4 and 1 1/2 for residential and commercial fires, we're using solid bore.
Oh, you know another one at the EV class, they had 2 hose lines, both with fog nozzles, and it was to simulate an EV on fire with a patient inside. So they would go
Protection.
It's like protection, but also access. So like they would go at the car with the 2. I don't know if this makes sense, with the fog nozzles like this, with 2 fog patterns going in diagonal directions, and and they had a smoke machine to simulate it, and it actually just makes like this window,
Yeah.
and then you can get in. It was pretty cool. I've
Yeah,
never seen something like that.
It's like the vortex that's created, even when you go into a room and you start hitting the flames
pulls
with
the air.
Yeah, well, you
The
can
smoke.
pull it or push it away. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Like even Kevin and I discussed with the fog nozzle is a good way to, if you get caught in a flashover situation, like or you know, any of those situations, just open that
like a
fog nozzle
shield.
up. Yeah, it'll shield you.
To a certain extent.
To a
You don't want to
certain
go too
extent, for
far.
sure,
'Cause
yeah.
if you're holding too much back.
I love those
it becomes a
videos of
problem.
like the big propane tanks, and they're freaking blowing fire, and they're just like walking up like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it cool?
This was another submission. Explore volunteer firefighters running for elected officials in their town and how strong of a political lobby volleys are in their community.
Say that again?
I think it was worded wrong. It's explore volunteer firefighters running for elected office, probably.
So a
Not
volunteer
officials.
running for a political office in the community?
in the community.
Oh, okay.
What, like a
So not like a
legislator type thing?
commissioner. You're talking about like a member that's also a politician in the local
Right,
election.
and then using the leverage of their
Of that
department.
person. Yeah, well, I mean, you could to a certain extent. There's a couple on Long Island that are in Suffolk County Legislature and stuff like that. And, they are a help and a benefit to the fire service by being there, so.
Was this like a question? Like, is he asking what type of leverage does a person have?
They just
Or just to talk about it?
just to talk about it. They wanted to see.
Oh, just have like a discussion about it.
yeah, kind of see what our opinion was on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
this,
he might have some leverage in terms of voting, or people might.
well, voting, I mean, hopefully allocating funds and stuff like that. And, and it really depends on where or what they're doing. Like we have, members that are members of our department, but also in like the Civic Association or the Historical Association. Is the music? Oh, there's somebody
people
out there now.
screaming.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's
Someone's
probably a
getting
kid.
murdered.
We're just sitting
The
here
music was
recording.
on. There was somebody in the office.
Someone's getting killed. And we're just sitting here.
But there are certain people that could help and assist your department in getting funds and grants and stuff like that. I know there's departments upstate that have some people that are firefighters and also help get them money and grants and stuff like that. So there are ways it could be a help. And working with your community and your local politicians is a big deal. When we were looking to get a new firehouse, we went and started a community committee because we knew we weren't going to get it passed any other way. We tried to float a bond. It didn't happen. So, we got members of the community to get part of the committee to make it happen. And then they went back to their associations and their other political affiliations and got them all on board to vote for our firehouse. So sometimes it can be very beneficial. If you just turn a blind eye and just be like, screw the community or screw the politicians and all this stuff, you're going to get nowhere. We've talked about this before, that, we only exist because of the taxpayers. We only exist because of our communities. We don't exist for ourselves. So we're there to support the people of our community, our politicians in our community, and hopefully they're going to support us back as well.
Right.
So that video clip I showed you earlier of David Rhodes from Fire Engineering, it's phenomenal the way he just comes across talking about the mission and the people, and that's really what it's all about. That's what we're trying to accomplish. And being mission driven in our assignments, our job function, what we do as firefighters, and the rest should come easier if we focus on those skills. So even recruitment, retention, having a good culture, being driven towards training, those are all things that are going to keep our members solid, and that's what we want.
Right. And it was interesting that article that you had sent to us this morning. I know
Oh, the
we
other
all-
one of the chief?
Yeah.
Yes.
In Colorado.
Like I said, I read a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
always,
no.
That was
I
a
mean,
good
both
one.
both Phil and I read it, and Phil posted on our Instagram.
Oh, he
account,
posted
like,
that?
couple excerpts from it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That
Oh,
made sense.
good.
And then we put up a poll of.
So I put up two polls. One of them I said, so in that article, and I'll refer to what he was saying.
But it was spot on. I love the way
It was
he
amazing.
came across.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the two things I posted. So I said, one of the quotes from it is, I listened to the volunteers, he said. I listened to the reasons they weren't happy. If you're going to be doing something for free, you should at least be
You
happy
should be
doing
happy
it.
doing it.
The second part was other changes, such as swapping out rarely used fire trucks with more agile pickup type brush vehicles,
Right.
accommodate close to 80% of the department's calls. The move not only reduced the department's fuel, maintenance, and insurance costs, but also upped the number of individuals qualified to drive, and that helped increase response time.
Because they're smaller vehicles.
So I put up a poll. One, I just worded it funny. Do you roll a 30-ton rescue truck to sweep up a fuel spill? 76% of people said yes.
Yeah.
Out of how many voters did we have?
There were a lot.
290.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I also made another poll that says, would a pickup/mini rescue style rig be useful? 80% yes. So instead of
I think they have merit, you
Yeah.
know, in certain situations. And there are some departments on Long Island. I think Center Reach still has the mini rescue. But there are a few departments that have a mini. So they have a large one and a mini. So, they can roll that out if they need to. It's got extrication tools. It's like a mini heavy rescue.
Yeah.
I don't know why we call them heavy rescue. It's a rescue truck. And then use the big one when you need it for other things. It's the big toolbox.
Yeah.
But,
Like you said, 80% of the runs, the smaller brush style, was sufficient. Which I agree around here. Like, I mean, we stopped going to Alpha and Bravo MVAs. I don't know what was the reason behind it, but a lot of the times, like, we're rolling this big truck and there's so much equipment on it. But like,
I think that's partially the reason they didn't.
You
they
also
stopped
need
doing
a
that.
blocking rig too, though, which is
that is something
I think that is
Yeah.
super important. You got to create a safe space for your members when you're on the roadway. The road is so dangerous.
Yeah.
I would say in your case, like Hop Hog being the types, and I believe in Setauket, I mean, you have 347 Long Island Expressway.
Nichols.
We have Nichols Road
Nichols
too.
Road,
Yeah.
like
We get
real
some high
dangerous
speed
roads.
accidents.
Yeah, you want that big truck,
Yeah.
or at least a couple
I
engines
mean,
on the
we're
road.
gonna have an engine out anyway, and we outfitted all our engines with tools.
Yeah.
Right.
So
The only issue I see with the smaller vehicles is you get just too eager, two or however big
younger
it is. Like I
bucks
remember,
go.
yeah,
They jump in and
yeah,
go?
they jump in and go, and they are not. They pull up to a scene that's going to require some serious extrication,
Yeah, I
and
can
they're
see
not. They jumped in because they're just gung
Mm-hmm.
ho, want to get there.
Yeah.
But they're not skilled enough
Right.
to understand like what's going on, or even just assess the situation, because in reality, the way it works, you have, your rescue truck shows up to an extrication, something like that. The officer of that rig is in charge of that operation,
Right.
where the chief is in charge of the overall operation. Obviously, given certain circumstances, you can switch it up, but like, you need somebody that can take a step back and look at what's going on and say, all right, maybe we should try this. Oh, T-bone, maybe we have to go with
But in reality, I mean, you look at the way the cars are built now, a lot of them getting pretty good impacts and you can still open the doors. Or it's a minor door pop. And
Right.
that's not every scenario, but, a lot of these smaller accidents really don't require much. Like you said, speedy dry, sweep the road, but
I'm
if
talking
you're
about
on a
heavy-
highway.
I'm talking about heavy-
No,
like,
no,
I'm
I know
saying
when
for
you're getting
our
into bigger
district,
stuff.
yeah.
I mean, listen, we have, Paratech struts to hold the car up if it flips over and stuff like that, So we have other options available to us, and sometimes you may need chain or a winch and stuff like that. But not always. A lot of times you just need a couple little things.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I did the extrication drill, someone from somewhere, they go, because we're using chains for different type of cradles and whatever. One of the guys is like, "Who the hell uses chain? Why would you ever bring chain?" And I look at him, I'm like,
God, I've used chain
I'm like,
so many
"What?"
times.
I'm like, chain is like a go-to thing, especially using
Yeah,
struts and like all this
absolutely.
different stuff. I'm like, chain. I'm
Or
like,
even the
Holding
the-
back
you have
cars from falling
the
off
rubber
bridges.
bands on your truck still.
oh, those like, yeah, they're like elastic. type
Yeah,
Ratchet straps.
We've
we use ratchet straps sometimes.
I've seen those used. For,
Yeah, those are
for heavy
great.
rescues. Yeah. Just depending on this, like you have a car into the woods or something like that, use a tree as a anchoring point.
Yeah.
But again, that's just our district. Like that guy probably, there's one road in, one road out in that district,
Yeah.
and they're not using that type
Yeah.
of stuff. So
When
Well,
we have
once
those
again, it's mission driven, and it depends on what you have. There's times where we use chain. There's times that we don't use chain. There's times you use a winch.
yeah,
some of those, like in the wood situations, it's like I open the compartments and it's chains, straps, grip hoist, freaking
Grip hoist, another
snatch
great tool.
blocks, just like grab it all.
Yep.
I'd rather be looking at it than looking for it.
Here we go
In
again.
those situations.
we're gonna start keeping a tally of
How many times he says that?
how many times you say that and how many times you say mission driven.
yeah, mission
Mission
driven.
driven.
I was about to
Mission
say that
driven,
to
mission
you
driven.
before you
We
said
should
it
put
to me.
something up on the Instagram if you can
You want
count
a poll?
Like put up another poll asking people if we should do more polls. Nobody ask that. Hey, we'll send you a free shirt or some shit like that.
I gotta start. I don't. It's tough to pay attention during the day, but I just want to start posting more funny
But
shit.
Yeah, we have
getting
to.
back to that article, there was a lot of good things. I mean, he's a paid chief, covering a rural volunteer department, but they needed it administrative.
No, he wasn't a
stuff
chief.
like that.
He was the only employee of the district.
Yeah,
he
but
wasn't a chief.
I thought he said paid chief though.
I thought he said paid
Yeah.
chief too.
Did he
It's
say
paid
chief?
chief.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not gonna look it
So
up.
it said he replaced a captain. They
Yes.
had a paid captain. Now they have a paid chief. But he was looking outside the box at different things, and Chief Richardson brought up a lot of that about going out and talking to the members, and seeing what the issues really are that are out there. What's going on that really troubles you, bothers you. I mean, there's certain things you could fix, certain things you can't. But he brought up a lot of great points of different ways to try to make it better. Bunk rooms, better facilities, stuff like that. Reasons why to keep them in the firehouse. Like you said, games or movie night, stuff like that. But he said when he started, it went from nobody being in the firehouse to now there's people in the firehouse all the time.
Yeah, 30 to
So-
60, he said, right? From 30 to 60.
Yeah. So
And he's got some more applications coming in.
So when you start seeing that we're building that better culture, people want to be there.
You know what I was thinking about before, and I gotta try and word this as best I can, but people talk about chiefs getting elected or officers getting elected, it being a popularity contest. Well, if it's
To a certain extent,
yeah,
it
if it's
is.
a popularity contest, that person is obviously well liked. So where is the
Correct.
disconnect from when that person becomes an officer and all of a sudden things start going downhill? Because
You mean like towards a toxic type person, or
no, people
Where they're
sometimes
not liked
complain
anymore?
about. Yeah, no, not that they're not liked, but people complain about, it's a popularity contest with voting for chief. Okay, understandable.
What are you saying? What's the problem?
Yeah, I'm
People
trying
must
to
like 'em.
What I was just thinking about today, I'm like, well, if it's a popularity contest, that's what the people voted for because
that's every election you think about. Every election, whether
I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure out, because people talk about that with a negative connotation, saying it's a popularity contest, just throw anybody in there, and then all of a sudden you got an asshole as chief. Okay, well, if they're liked by everybody, where is that disconnect happening?
well, first off, they're probably not liked by every. It's very rare that somebody wins out of control over the top of somebody.
No, I
else.
get
I mean,
that.
it
I'm
happens
just
every
saying
once in
in
a while
general.
because there are people that do lose miserably.
Are you trying to uncover where's the bad part of winning by the popular vote?
Well, because you
Yes,
can
and-
kiss everybody's ass, buy them beer, and do everything else you do, and try to show them you're there all the time, and then all of a sudden you become a chief or a captain.
I'm just looking at it
and then
from
you're
a
never around
perspective
anymore,
as-
or you start being an idiot.
Perspective, if you have all these people that trust you and put you into office, how do you not take what we were just talking about, talking to your men and everything like that, and figuring out what's
Don't
going
lose
on?
that trust.
It's just an interesting concept and something that I feel like I want to take a deeper dive
Well, I'm
into
trying
to
to
understand
understand
for
what you're
myself.
getting at. So someone wins by being the popular guy. Is it what happens after?
Yeah, what happens? So everyone
Well,
says,
what if they-
this
they're-
department's
they're-
going to shit.
But what if their life on the outside changes?
That's one issue right there.
Like you say, you get married, you have kids, or there's other things in your life that goes on, or you have a sick family member, and now the person doesn't come around anymore. And then everybody's like, who is this person? And then they come down, they complain every time they come down.
So what is it someone wins by being popular, and then after they're in the position,
Things
maybe
start going downhill.
Maybe the chief lets loose, and he's like, well, I won. I'm in the position
Well,
now.
people
I'm
can
not gonna-"
change.
Yeah.
You can change for
Change
the
with-
better, you can change for the worse.
Right, you give somebody
can
a
happen as
certain
well.
amount of power.
I thought you were going down the road.
Power
of
goes to the head, you're talking
Yeah.
about?
I thought you were going down the road of company bias. You win because this company's more manned. This guy's in that company, and he just got more votes by default because there's more people.
There's that
And then,
aspect of it too.
We've had members that couldn't get elected in one company, left the company, went to another company, got elected.
Well, that's weird.
You eating some focus juice, Kev?
Let me get one of those.
You know,
I've been
figure try
freaking
one.
chomping on the
So,
energy ones during the
Where's
day.
the
One shot?
one shot energy? You could use.
Are they a sponsor yet?
Yeah, you could use code FIREWIRE for
Firewire.
10% off.
Is that Coobs approved?
I thought we ran out of these things. Oh, are these the caffeine or the regular ones? These are
I had
regular.
to say it.
No, these aren't. These are just the vitamins on
Oh,
it.
that's good. That's a good tasting one. I got the lemon.
Were these in my bag?
It was sitting
No,
right there.
they were in my thing. I think you have another one in there. It's
Mine's just filled with wrappers. Just
Oh,
to
stuck to my dude now.
weight.
yeah, code FIREWIRE for 10% off.
These are good. I will say I have the caffeine ones, and it's not like drinking a cup of coffee. I don't think it's as strong, but there's like 600 milligrams of nootropic antioxidants, which I think make a difference. Because I'll be sitting at my desk,
So
and
you don't
I
get sick?
just want to get up and leave. No, nootropic's like a neuro stimulant.
Not from
It's
mushrooms?
like that neuro gum I have. You should try that.
Yeah,
Neurogum's
nootropic.
good.
Yeah.
But
That
I
stuff's
think
really
they
good.
work. Cops, firemen, if you're freaking sitting in your car or something and you need some
in your
stimulation.
car.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons, though, that people go down the tubes, though, after they get elected.
I mean, I've seen it. People get
And there's
elected.
people that
and they're
just
like,
get
"Oh."
power hungry, like they feel like they got to control everything, micromanage. Micromanagement is terrible. I mean, there's times where you have to do things because other people don't do it, but there's got to be accountability.
Right. But you've also seen the people that go down. They get that power, it goes to their head, and it completely changes. I've seen that
I've
a bunch
seen
of
it.
times.
Or the guys who just lack real leadership skills, get in the position and either micromanage or just have no idea how to manage and just freaking.
Well, the truth is, not everybody's meant to be a leader. That's just a fact. There's some people that can be great firefighters or great EMTs or medics, but that's all they know. That's all they can do. They can't be a leader. You know, we think two things. One is anybody can be a firefighter or an EMS person, which is totally not true. Not everybody can do this. I mean, you can try it or you can work to do it, but it's not for everybody. That's number one. Number two is not everybody's meant to be an officer or a leader. You might think they're a great firefighter and you say, oh, this guy's a great guy. They get into a leadership role. They don't know how to handle it.
Right.
And then the power goes to the head and they think they got to control everybody. They got to tell everybody what to do. And, you know, nobody wants to be told what to do all the time.
I had myself muted because I was chomping on that thing.
I know. It's sticking to my teeth.
No.
Makes sense. What else you got, Kev?
Like I was even saying with, chief officers. Sometimes you have one chief on the scene. Sometimes you have four. What do you do with them all?
Delegate.
Some people don't know how to manage their chiefs. They know how to manage the other people, but they can't manage the chiefs. Or they let the chiefs do whatever they want. And then you have mutual aid, and you got like 16 of them, and they're all standing around the chief's car like,
Having a beer.
well, do something with them.
Well,
or
what is it if you got
maybe they
multiple
need to go
chiefs?
home.
There's the IC, there's the ops chief, there's the liaison. Isn't there one more?
You can put
That's incident command can be small or big depending on how you want it. Depends on the incident. Do you always need an incident commander and an operations chief? No, an incident commander can sometimes run the whole scene. It just depends. But that's the thing. What do you do with them after that? Personally, if I don't need another chief and I'm short-handed,
Find
get
a
them on the
job,
line.
yeah.
Go search. But there are times where you do need people or they don't know how to allocate. Like assign somebody as safety.
I was just going to say that.
I used to assign somebody to the rear yard because it's an area I can't see. Assign somebody to water supply or water resource. Make sure it's being done. There are so many things. Staging area. EMS. Usually we just say, yeah, and paramedic, you take care of that. Could you assign a chief officer to be responsible for all the ambulances that come in? Yeah. No, we're so afraid to do that. It's like, oh, EMS is their own thing. If you got 4 chiefs, put somebody there.
Right.
Like I said, depending on the operation, depending on what's needed.
No, that makes sense.
Well, it feels good to be back in here.
Yeah, it does. It's been 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and we're back at
That
it.
was
with
Phil's
the-
fault.
Yeah, I went on vacation.
Both weeks.
And then I went to FDIC. We've been
FDIC.
calling it FDIC all
FDIC,
weekend.
that's
I
fun.
can't get it out of my head. We're walking around and we're like, we're just like messing with people sometimes. We're like, oh, welcome to FDIC.
Why didn't you tell me that
Wow.
before we started the episode so I could have referred to it as FDIC?
I know. I should have.
That's pretty funny.
That is
At the
funny.
bars.
I tell you, they do a great job there.
Seems like it.
know.
People are coming from all over the place doing something right. And, it's a testament to what you're doing at
But the amount of
Joey D as well. People coming from all over.
the amount of stuff there and products. Listen, there's a lot of gadgets that are probably unnecessary. You probably don't need them. People sell stuff, but just because you see shiny object doesn't mean you need it. You should test things, see if it works for your department. But a lot of great stuff there. Pick people's brains, talk to other people, look at products, talk to the reps. Just walking around a little bit that I did, and talking to different people, and making contacts with people, but learning about some of these products. Like you saw that turtle thing slides under the car. But there's a lot of really
imaging technology, new thermal imaging technology.
Oh, the imaging quality has just changed so much.
insane.
Even that seat camera. It's phenomenal. Even the little ones.
Even the little one you got, yeah.
But you can learn some. You got to get out of your zip code. You got to talk to people in other departments and stuff like that. Conferences. It's a networking event. You're always learning. I made contacts with some of the guys I was working with Fire Innovations. They're out in LA County. We're going to talk. But you pick their brain, they pick your brain. We come up with different ideas or thoughts, and this can be, it's for this, but we could probably use it for this. There's just so much you can learn.
I would say it's on.
And I don't really understand. I do to a certain point. I understand that some people have to take vacation time or do other things to be able to go to these things like volunteers. You should try to get out to FDIC. You should try to go to a conference. You don't have to do it every year. Take a couple days, go learn something. Even if you do 1 day hands-on somewhere or 2 days or whatever, you're only going to make yourself better. You're going to make yourself, a better firefighter. You're going to make yourself probably safer on the fire ground. You're going to make yourself, Jason Breslin says, hard to kill. You're going to make yourself harder to kill. Listen, anybody can get killed doing this job, and you could do everything right and still get hurt, injured, killed. So why wouldn't I want to be at the top of my game and learn as much as I can to try to keep myself safe, or come back and teach other members of your department?
Yeah.
I was going to say, depending on your position or your level of involvement, I would say it's definitely 60% networking, 40% products and training. I don't know, on a chief level, it probably narrows a little bit more because chiefs may not be going to the training as much. They might be there for other reasons, or commissioners there for other reasons. But there's so many people there.
I went out there 1 year, literally I stayed one night. I flew first thing in the morning out. I looked up some products. We were getting a new ladder truck. I looked at some ladder trucks, talked to some vendors, stayed overnight, went back in the morning for a couple hours, lost the cameras.
You know what? The cameras aren't plugged in. So they're dying.
But anyway, I went out there in the morning again, walked around the floor, made some contacts, got some information, and I flew home that night.
Damn.
Sometimes you need to do that every once in a while. But if you can go learn, take a couple classes, pick up a few things, bring it back to your department, it's a home run.
Yeah, there's good stuff there.
For sure.
So I guess we got to cancel out because we got no cameras now?
Yeah,
we're
toward
at
the end
time.
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, we got one camera.
We got one.
You don't need me.
But yeah, FDIC was great. Good first time there.
F-Dick.
F-Dick. F-Dick.
About time you got out and learned something.
Yeah, right? I do a lot of shit.
You do a lot of stuff.
Only thing I don't do is read shit online.
Yes, I read a lot of stuff. Like I said, I found that article. I saw the video with David Rhodes, but, I read a couple articles today. Like I said, you got to just keep expanding your knowledge. You pick up one or two things a day.
Yeah. I'm actually lying through my teeth. I actually read every time I see an article, I read it.
Well, you should.
I just like talking shit to you.
Well, I know you like to do that anyway, but it amazes me how many people, even in our own volunteer departments, even, city firemen and stuff, that they don't read every day, or they don't try to go outside their comfort zone, or go to a conference or learn. And, guys would, break your chops and these guys on the circuit, they all say the same stuff all the time. No, they don't. You can learn so much from these people. Mike Champo did the keynote. He brought up some phenomenal information. David Rhodes and these guys, and there's constantly things to learn, or just refresh your mind.
I was just gonna say, even just
Take it as a
even
refresher.
Say if it is the same shit, if you're hearing it over and over again, obviously it's a problem that still needs to be
Or
talked
it's
about. So
important.
you're getting more. Just it's in your head over and over again, so it keeps you thinking about it. So
Absolutely.
and it's just a different speaker, which makes it better.
Yeah. And you get the different perspectives. Yeah,
A lot of different.
people say things, and you could we can
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
the same story in a different way.
100%.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
cool.
I think that's a wrap, right?
Yeah,
Episode 14.
in the books.
I can't believe we're at 14. That went quick.
Yeah.
What'd you say? We had to make it 3 months? We did it.
Who's that?
No, past.
I think it was 3
Oh,
episodes.
there goes the last camera.
There goes the last camera.
Peace
Au-
out.
audio
Now we
still
got
good.
audio.
Yeah,
It's all right.
yeah. We're gonna make an audio book.
What was it? After 3 episodes or something?
No,
Yeah,
3 months.
Most podcasts don't make it past 3 episodes,
Past 3 episodes. I thought you said 3 months.
and then there's like another percentage don't make it past 10.
Yeah.
So we are in
that's
the
good.
we're in the top
It-
percent.
like I said, even talking to people, FDIC, and handing out stickers, stuff like that. But there's a lot of people that do follow us, and or have seen our clips.
I'm not gonna get a
oh,
fucking clip here.
Final clip here. Yeah,
Maybe
we're going
we
to put a
will.
clip in here.
Put a smiley face on
I
it.
told you guys I was getting a text from a commissioner of a neighboring department that was up at a convention upstate New York, and the guy was Tom Merrill, who wrote that book, The Professional Volunteer Fire Department, and he was using our clips in his seminar.
That's awesome.
He used like 4 or 5 different clips.
Sweet.
So he's listening, and we're going to have him on here one of
Yeah.
these days. He's on the list as one of our guests. So hopefully we can get him down here to get him on Long Island.
On the
Long
island.
Yeah.
All right,
Fuck
let's
that
wrap
again.
this up.
All
and,
right,
go
episode
home.
14.
Peace.